Welcome to Self-Care Tips. I am Irene Joroge, and we're going to look at meditation. Meditation is simply a process of relaxing your mind and feeling better. Once you meditate in the great outdoors, you will be amazed at the benefits you'll get, and it's instant. One of the immediate benefits you can get from meditation is the relief from stress. When you do it outside, the fresh air and everything circulates within your system and gives you a feeling of well-being like no other. As soon as you meditate, you actually begin to feel relaxed. Among the other benefits of meditation include lowering your blood pressure, and also meditation can help you quit bad habits such as smoking. Also, meditation helps you to collect your thoughts. Before you utter a word, just take a deep breath and then speak. And you'll find that whatever you've spoken is very well collected. You actually sound like you have yourself together. You may ask, how is meditation done? It's actually very easy, and it is as natural as breathing. All you need to do is find a quiet spot, preferably a place where there's nature, in the outdoors. The rustling of the wind, the singing of the birds, and even maybe a river flowing will actually all add to the ambience that you need to bring yourself into a state of relaxation. Once you found the ideal spot, just take a few minutes to breathe in deeply, breathe in and out. And one of the things about meditation is that you can actually use it as a time to pray, as a place where you can have a prayer session with God, and you will find yourself achieving a calmness that maybe you were never even able to achieve before. This has been Self-Care Tips, and I am Irene Joroge, enjoying some meditation in a nice, cool area. Thank you.
Over the weekend, Alpha Fit Gym on Gong Road was the place to be for fashion enthusiasts for an event dubbed On the Runway.
Bald Men Association, Kenya. So now a tribunal in the United Kingdom has just ruled that if you call someone bald, if you call a man bald, it is an offense.
All I can say is that, first off, I love the people. You know, I love the energy, I love the frequency. I looked forward to come back again and actually come with my pack and my producer to actually make music here, because I really enjoy the energy, the weather, the food, you know.
You've heard of them. They need your vote. The debate coming soon.
Kupata lazima nishike kama skiza tune yako. Bonyeza *811 *962 hash.
Lazima nishike mapema. Nisiposhika simu mapema utakasirika. Unajua mimi nikiwa mtu ya marathon najua niko na experience kabisa. Niko na experience. If you don't hurry, you will not break the record. Okay, wacha nishike simu.
Kupata lazima nishike, bonyeza *811 *962 hash. *811 *962 hash.
Furahia maisha bora, linda jamii.
Hii ng'ombe ni yako. Asante. Hii ng'ombe itatoa maziwa mengi kabisa. Sasa shida ya school fees imeisha. Chukua hii. Hebu nikuulize, hii maneno nasikia ya bima ya elimu inaweza kuonekana mtu ana process ya kuchukua insurance kama yote ni rahisi. Hata niko na kapa ya gari yangu. Kwanza unajaza proposal form kama hii na uijaze wewe mwenyewe, na kama haujui kusoma uijaze na mtu mwingine. Hakikisha ile majibu umepatiana ni sahihi na ni ya kweli. Pia thibitisha insurance cover imeangalia masilahi yako, na usiwahi sign proposal form ambayo haijaandikwa kitu chochote. Pia ukumbuke kujitolea fotokopi yako. Sasa wacha nianze hiyo process. By the way, ukisubmit hiyo proposal form, uhakikishe umepatiwa policy document. Uisome na uielewe. Hiyo ndio dhibitisho ya kuwa unapiva.
Hello, there you are. It's the 16th day of May, the year of the Lord 2022. This is KBC Prime Edition, coming to you live from Broadcasting House right here in the capital city of Nairobi, Kenya. Cometh the hour, cometh the lady.
And women lead celebrations as Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga names a woman. This is Martha Karua as his running mate. Historic it is, they say.
And that's the reason we have live in studio Dr. Agnes Award to get her reaction, a lecturer at the Jaramogi Odinga University of Science and Technology. What does she think? We will be hosting her in a little while. But first things first, let's take a look at our headline stories.
I have the great honor to announce that I have picked as my running mate and Cabinet Secretary for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Martha Wangari Karua.
This is our moment as women of Kenya and as men of Kenya, because they are our brothers, our fathers, and our companions.
It is Martha Karua. Azimio la Umoja gives presidential running mate slot to a woman.
I am going it solo. Kalonzo Musyoka ditches Azimio coalition.
Time out. Kindiki Kithure to quit active politics in August.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us. My name is Mboya.
My name is Museo. Please feel free to interact with us and tell us what you think about the naming of running mates by different political outfits. The latest is Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga, who named Martha Karua, a woman, as his running mate. At KBC Channel 1 News and at Purity_Museo at Mboya24, the hashtag is Prime Edition. Let's get this started.
All right. Martha Karua, as Purity mentioned. It is Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party presidential nominee Raila Amolo Odinga Monday picked NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua as his running mate in the August 2022 poll.
Raila described Karua as a safe pair of hands, seasoned by the struggle for the second liberation and service to the country.
Well, Raila said Karua's legal as well as political experience made her the best choice for deputy president's position.
In acceptance speech, Karua affirmed her commitment to supporting the former premier's vision for the country.
Safina Chieng Ouma opens our coverage tonight with that story that has put a smile on my colleague's face.
Kenyatta International Convention Center was an ocean of humanity Monday during the unveiling of the running mate for the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Coalition Party presidential nominee. And just before making the much-awaited announcement, Raila would first explain how he arrived at his decision to settle for a female running mate.
After 60 years of independence, we cannot be the male domination we cannot excuse the male domination of the executive. For the first time in the history of our republic, and on the 7th multi-party election, history is calling us to close the gender gap in our country. History is calling on us to reciprocate the struggles and fidelity of our women. History is calling on us to produce our first woman deputy president.
And when the moment to let the cat out of the basket came,
cometh the hour, cometh the lady. I have the great honor to announce that I have picked as my running mate and Cabinet Secretary for Justice and Constitutional Affairs, the Honorable Martha Wangari Karua.
According to Raila Odinga, NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua, whom he picked to deputize him in the 2022 presidential race, is a seasoned politician with incredible credentials in the country's second liberation struggle.
This woman is a fighter and is not a quitter. This woman has a safe pair of hands, seasoned by the struggle for our second liberation and service to the country in many capacities.
Among her key responsibilities as Raila Odinga's number 2, Karua was tasked to spearhead efforts to bring to fruition the country's vision to change the constitution.
When the late Mboya Kibaki and I pushed for the 2010 constitution, we admitted that it was a work in progress and it needed some further work. Because I am a man of my word, I will task her with the assignment of completing what we started. And I am persuaded that she has the right pair of hands to accomplish this task.
In her acceptance speech, Martha Karua affirmed that she is ready to hit the ground running and support Raila's quest for social justice.
I will not let you down. I will be steadfast. I'll be diligent in pursuit of our shared dreams and ideals.
Karua also using the opportunity to thank the coalition's presidential nominee for reserving the deputy president slot for a woman.
This is our moment as women of Kenya and as men of Kenya, because they are our brothers, our fathers, and our companions. This is the moment to usher more of us to the front lines at the national and county levels.
Martha Karua did not get it out of nothing. She has represented our interests, women interests, youth interests, constitutional reforms of Kenya until this day. So the women of Kenya, you now have one of us who is going to sit there.
And as we celebrate this win, because this is not Martha Karua's win, but the win for all the women of Kenya.
Other leaders who are shortlisted for the running mate slot supported Raila Odinga's choice, vowing to refocus their efforts to secure a win for Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance on 9th of August.
Sisi wengine tuna imani na msimamo wa Raila Amolo Odinga alochukua kubadilisha maisha ya Wakenya.
We have been part of the struggle, and we came in this struggle not because we are going to look for positions, but we have come in this struggle to make sure Kenya move to the next level.
You know, we've always been brother, sister. That will continue, and we will work hard to ensure that we deliver this country to Azimio government on the 9th of August this year.
In Azimio la Umoja, we are here to stay. This is our home. This is our future. This is our happiness.
Na hakuna wasiwasi wowote. Tunajua kura injayo, yule atakuwa rais wa Kenya na deputy president wake ni nani? ni Baba Raila Amolo Odinga na deputy wake Mama Martha Karua.
The nomination of NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua as Raila Odinga's running mate not only sets the pace for a full-blown implementation of the campaign strategy for the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya alliance, but also rekindles the flame of the nationwide advocacy for women inclusion in leadership. For Prime Edition, I am Safin Acheng Oma.
You know what? Raila Odinga appointed in absentia Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka as Chief Cabinet Secretary, mandated to coordinate and supervise functions of the government.
While unveiling his proposed partial cabinet that accommodated most of those who missed the running mate slot, the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate proposed Kenneth Marende as Senate Speaker and Ali Hassan Joho as Lance Cabinet Secretary.
And the current CS Peter Munya will retain his position as the Agriculture Cabinet Secretary, while Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya is Raila Odinga's choice for National Treasury Cabinet Secretary, that is if he ascends to power. Regina Manyara reports.
Even as all eyes were trained on Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga as he unveiled his running mate, there were concerns on what would be left for those who were left out.
I have worked out a program that I believe will make our dreams come true.
In a tactful move, Raila Odinga unveiled his proposed cabinet members in anticipation of a win come August 9th, appointing Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka as Chief Cabinet Secretary.
I have nominated Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka as the Chief Cabinet Secretary with the responsibility to coordinate and supervise functions of the government.
He is mandated to coordinate and supervise functions of the government. However, Kalonzo was missing in action and instead opted to vie for presidency with Andrew Leitipa Sunkuli as his running mate.
For the third arm of government, I nominate Honorable Kenneth Marende as the Speaker of the Senate.
Raila proposed former National Assembly Kenneth Marende as Speaker of the Senate. A politician himself, Marende defected from Musalia Mudavadi's camp to Democratic Action Party Kenya.
I further nominate Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya as the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury.
Team is now complete. Ningeomba tu nyinyi wananchi, kutoka leo ndio tumeanza safari yetu ya August 9th. Na hiyo safari tunataka tutembee pamoja.
Kakamega Governor Wycliffe Oparanya, a former Minister for Planning, could be back at Treasury as the Cabinet Secretary, trying to balance public debt and economic recovery.
Nimepawa nafasi ya kujiwakilisha katika kinyang'anyiro cha unaibu wa rais wa Raila Amolo Odinga.
The proposed appointment of Mombasa County Governor Ali Hassan Joho was a welcome surprise for the nominee, who took time to share his sentiments. Current Agriculture CS Peter Munya will retain his position as Agriculture Cabinet Secretary in Raila's government.
Mimi nataka kuchukua fursa hii kuambia baba hongera kwa kumchagua mama wa nguvu Martha Wangari Karua, ambaye amefanyia nchi kazi miaka mingi, ambaye ako na uzoefu wa kutosha, na ambaye sisi sote tutaunga mkono pamoja na wewe tuweze kushinda uchaguzi ujao.
Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
And the experiences of Dr. William Ruto as Deputy President had a heavy bearing on the duties assigned to that office by those aspiring to form the next government. Having complained that his functions as DP are being performed by other officers, Ruto announced plans to issue a presidential directive to strengthen that office with clearly defined functions. Raila, on the other hand, picked the run-ins between President Uhuru Kenyatta and DP Ruto to model the ideals of the office of the Deputy President, as now Yusuf Farah reports.
William Ruto, borrowing from his experiences as Kenya's first Deputy President under the current constitution, recommended how that office should be strengthened.
The Deputy President under the Kenya Kwanza arrangement will chair cabinet committees. The Deputy President will oversee the implementation of cabinet decisions.
And as he unveiled his running mate Monday, Azimio flag bearer Raila Odinga weighed in on the matter, but with a biblical allegory hinged on Joshua's loyalty to Moses in leading the Israelites out of Egyptian bondage.
One who will not be a turncoat in the middle of the battle or abandon post for other exploits.
Raila likened the Deputy President's office to a workshop where the heavy lifting is done to lighten the load for the President.
The principal assistant is meant to be a problem solver to the President and not a problem to the President.
The position of the Deputy President does stand out into another opportunity for the two opponents to settle long-standing differences in an ideal situation from their respective perspectives. Isufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Now, the nomination of NARC Kenya party leader Martha Karua has deputized the Azimio la Umoja One coalition party presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga has elicited mixed reactions throughout, and many people have welcomed it. Elvis paints a picture on how the country reacted to the news.
Residents of her constituency in Kirinyaga flocked the town to celebrate the big announcement of one of their own being appointed as the running mate of Raila Odinga in the August presidential elections.
Akikuwa pale juu, akiwa kama deputy president, yeye ataangalia maendeleo kwa sababu yeye mwenyewe haangalii maslahi yake, anaangalia maslahi ya watu wale wengine.
In Kiambu, locals also took to the street to celebrate Karua's nomination, expressing hope that their interests will be catered for in the Azimio government.
Tumefurahi kwa sababu ya kupewa Martha Karua, na sasa Jubilee imetuangalia vizuri.
Acha kina mama nao wajihisi kwamba hawawekwi nje katika serikali ambayo zinaotengezwa. Mimi kivyangu naunga mkono na ina support kumteua mheshimiwa Martha Karua. Martha Karua ni mheshimiwa, tukifuatilia historia yake hakuna mahali utampata na maskandal. Kwa hivyo ni mtu ambaye ameshikilia wizara mbalimbali na hakuna siku hata moja tumemuona akiwa amestakiwa ama amesukiwa kwamba amepora pesa za Wakenya.
Elsewhere, women leaders from Siaya and Migori County broke into songs and dances to celebrate the appointment of Martha Karua as Raila Odinga's running mate, saying that they have confidence in Karua based on her portfolio in various positions of leadership.
The fifth, that is Raila Amolo Odinga, has done a marvelous thing for the country. This is the first time that we have a female candidate in the position of Deputy President.
Maendeleo ya Wanawake organization had all nice words to describe one of their own.
I thought myself in my dream and in my thinking and in my prayer, if Maendeleo is 70 today, challenges notwithstanding of the 70 years, we need to claim a deputy president, leo hii, because God is living to Mempati.
And in Makueni and Kitui counties, locals received the news with reservation.
Sisi watu wa Makueni hatujafurahia kwa vile Azimio wametoa Martha Karua kama running mate. Tulikuwa nangojea Kalonzo sana akuwe running mate wa Raila Odinga.
Tumekaa tukisubiri bwana Lahila achukue Kalonzo kama running mate wake,
na ametuangusha siku ya leo, na hatujafurahia. Tuko na uchungu mingi, na Kalonzo, tuko na wewe, tunakushika mkono uende mpaka kwa debe.
Elvis Otieno for Prime Edition.
No president.
And although best remembered for having walked out of President Daniel Moi's public event in Kirinyaga in 2001, Martha Karua has an impeccable legacy as an advocate of human rights with keen interest in women's rights. Richard Munga brings us the profile of the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya Alliance deputy presidential running mate.
Born on the 22nd of September 1957 in Kirinyaga district of the former Central Province, Martha Wangari Karua would later study law and get into the civil service as a magistrate, serving in various stations including Makadara, Nakuru and Kibera from 1981 to 1987. She plunged into private legal practice at the time Kenya was a one-party state, with the only political party being the ruling Kenya African National Union, KANU. Karua would make a name as a strong human rights defender, fighting against oppression and the one-party rule of the then-President Daniel Arap Moi. The fierce activist would team up with other lawyers such as Kiraito Murungi, James Orengo, Paul Moite, Gitobu Iwanyara and John Hamino to persistently criticize President Moi and his government. Karua would go on to defend Koigi wa Moere and Merugi Kariuki against charges of treason. President Moi would finally give in to local and international pressure and allow the country to return to multi-party democracy in 1990. Karua joined Kenneth Matiba's Ford Asili party before moving to the Democratic Party of Kenya DP, where she won the party nominations in November 1992 and proceeded to win the election as Gishogo Member of Parliament in December 1992 against the incumbent Geoffrey Karikia Karithi. In 1995, she was recognized by the Federation of Kenya Women Lawyers FIDA for advancing the rights of women. In 1997, Karua would be re-elected to represent Gishogo constituency in Parliament on a DP ticket. In 1999, the Kenya section of the International Commission of Jurists awarded her the 1999 Kenya Jurist of the Year award. In the same year, the Law Society of Kenya, LSK, awarded Karua the Legal Practitioner's Due Diligence Award. In the 2002 general election, Karua would be among the founders of the National Rainbow Coalition, NARC, the coalition on whose ticket the then opposition leader Mwai Kibaki was elected the third president of the Republic of Kenya. Karua earned her third term to represent Gishogo in Parliament, a seat she would once again retain in the 2007 general election. Kibaki appointed Karua Minister for Water Resources, Management and Development in 2003, where she served up until 2005. She was then transferred to the Ministry of Justice, National Cohesion and Constitutional Affairs in 2005, where she served until 2009. Come the 2012 general election, and Karua unsuccessfully vied for the presidency through her political outfit, NARC Kenya. In 2017, Karua unsuccessfully sought to be the governor of Kirinyaga, losing to Anne Waiguru. On 20th September 2021, a section of leaders from Central Kenya named Martha Karua as the interim Mount Kenya Unity Forum convener and tasked her to negotiate with the Kenya Kwanza and Azimio coalitions. But she would finally settle on Azimio and back Raila Odinga's presidential bid. On May 9th, Karua appeared before the 7-member committee of eminent persons and interviewed for the position of Raila Odinga's running mate. A few days later, Raila Amolo Odinga picked Martha Wangari Karua as his running mate in the 9th August polls.
The number two factor, well, we will also be listening into some of the excerpts of Martha Karua after we take this first break on KBC Prime Edition. Remember, we have an interview.
Absolutely, and we're just getting some of the reactions on the running mate issue because the deadline was today. Yesterday we saw the other camp named Gachagua. Today we saw the Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate named Martha Karua. So that is what we're looking at. But today, women-led celebrations because it is a woman. We have Gloria here who is saying that what a time to be alive as a woman in Kenya. Yeah.
Kamala Harris moment. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll get those excerpts that I talked about, and then we will be having a guest in studio live. Don't go away.
You've heard of them. They need your vote. The debate coming soon.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime Edition this Monday, the 16th of May, 2022. Later on, Tom will be speaking with Agnes Odor just to get some of the reactions on the naming of running mate by different presidential candidates ahead of the 2022 general election. Let us now listen to some excerpts of Martha Karua's speeches cutting across various stages of her political career. Have a look.
Announcing for the first part of this press briefing where ODM had won. We did not hear anybody complaining. Where President Kindiki has won, the people are echoing. This election will be won by the ballot, not by mere shouting. Mr. Chairman, we are submitting, proceed and announce the winner of the election.
Of cabinet is pursuant to legitimate elections held in Kenya, results announced by the Electoral Commission, a president having been sworn in, and as a consequence, and pursuant to the law, naming cabinet to get on with business.
Indeed, this is seen, Hague is seen as a misfortune. We are the authors of our own misfortunes. We make laws, we unmake them. We can unmake. The procedure is to seek an amendment of Article 2, subsections 5 and 6 of this Constitution, and then we can get to the conclusion we want.
Na nimesikia leo walaghai wengine wakitamuka juu ya kujiuzuru kwangu, wakasema yale walisema. Nimwambie huyo waziri wa agriculture ambaye ako na kesi ya wizi katika mahakama aende amalize hiyo kesi yake ya wizi. Tunaelewa hataki mahakama ibadilike, sababu ikibadilika kesi yake itamalizika na ukweli utajulikana.
It is unethical to publish any report without checking with the person. I do not share any values with the Prime Minister Raila Odinga, nor do I admire his politics. In fact, I've been calling upon him to go home together with President Kibaki. Sure. Both of them, both he and President Kibaki, have been totally unable to uproot corruption from within their ranks. And therefore, both the voters of Kenya ought to be good enough to send both home, one by law and the other by the ballot. We are talking of contraband sugar, which is harmful to human health. We are told by KEBS that the levels of lead and copper are harmful. We are now asking as Kenyans loudly, where is the contraband sugar that is contaminated? Has it been withdrawn from the market, or is the government waiting for us to be poisoned by this sugar, which is being sold as it was or is being repackaged?
NARC Kenya and I are supporting the Azimio presidential candidate.
It was a cordial engagement, and I very much look forward to the outcome.
Mtu ambaye amepigania haki za Wakenya kwa uhai wake wote, hata tukimnyima kura akose kuwa rais, anaamuka anaendelea na kazi. Miaka yake yote amekupigania na wewe unajua hiyo. Ile timu iko na kiongozi mzalendo anaweza kuchunga mali yetu. Ni timu Azimio ikiongozwa na baba Raila Amolo Odinga.
I, Martha Wangari Karua, do hereby proudly accept this nomination as Deputy Presidential Candidate.
Oh, well, that was a moment between me and my director. Anyway, it's that time that we had promised to usher in our guest, Dr. Agnes Salome Awur, who's a lecturer at Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. You are also a founder of the Hekima Kaka Society. And that's an organization that deals with
boy child.
The boy child.
Yes.
Interests around the boy child.
Yes.
And if I'm not wrong, I think you're also an aspirant at some point?
I was an aspirant for the Senate. I was an independent candidate in 2013.
Yeah.
And I just left the nunhood and ran into politics, and that's why I made all the headlines.
Yeah.
The nun who left the nunhood to go to the murky waters of politics. But maybe that story is different.
Yeah, probably that's a story for another day. But I want to thank you for coming in. Today it's we all saw the Azimio flag bearer, Raila Odinga, picking the former Gishugu Member of Parliament as his running mate in the August 9th poll. First of all, I want to get your reaction to that.
Tom, I think I had a premonition about this. Today I was going to the Commission for Higher Education, and as I came in, I was telling the women, prepare for a Harris moment. And people were like, really? I said, it is going to be a Harris moment. And really, I can't thank enough the eldest among the presidential candidates, the boy child, who is Raila Amolo Odinga, Engineer Raila Amolo Odinga, for choosing Martha Karua. That was wisdom. That was inspired with wisdom. Women in this country have journeyed. I feel emotional about this. And if I look at Martha Karua,
I can see that. I can sense that.
If I look at Martha Karua and remember in the 80s, in the 90s, how she walked the path of the second liberation in this country, I just can't thank God enough. I don't know who inspired Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga
to settle on Martha
Karua.
As he's running.
But that decision was surely informed by a woman in his life.
We'll get to that, and I know you'll open that up for us. But you talk about Kamala Harris moment.
Yes, it is.
And the truth is, the conversations right now in the restaurants, in the corridors, in the homes, and even on social media, is that it feels almost like what the Americans went through when they settled on Kamala Harris as the second in command. Did it surprise you, the decision to nominate Martha Karua? Did it come as a surprise, or?
It was a prayer. For me, it was a prayer answered. I've really prayed that this country reaches this moment, especially with the 2/3 gender issue. And having seen women struggle women like Charity Ngilu, Mama Phoebe Asio, Dr. Ida Odinga, and many more. I can't just continue with the long line. And today was like a fulfillment.
A crowning moment.
To all of us women across the board. There's no tribe here.
Yeah.
It's women from all stages of life, up, down, middle, center, whatever. Mama Mboga, Baba Mboga. I believe also there are Baba Mboga who believe in women.
So do you think it debunks this myth that has been peddled over many years, that a woman is a woman's own enemy?
No. Today, and if you saw the people who are walking forward with Martha Karua, Honorable Martha Karua, let me give her the name that she deserves. Well, women, we saw Charity Ngilu smiling big. We saw Honorable Sabina Chege smiling. The other women from Azimio, and not even from Azimio only. I believe those women from the streets who are shouting, they belong to different political parties. But you know, Martha is somebody we can all identify ourselves with. Her resilience, her fidelity, her loyalty and commitment, those are all motherhood characters.
And, and there's also the element of when you see and watch Martha Karua and study her, there's conviction in whatever she does.
She's a woman who is convinced of who she is. Actually, she's a self-actualized person. She knows who she is. She knows what output she can give, and she knows how far she can reach. And Martha Karua is not somebody who is indecisive. When she chooses a path, she chooses it with conviction, with commitment, and this is what Baba needs at this time.
Yeah. I know UDS settled on Gachagua as their running mate candidate, and today we saw Martha Karua being the nominee of choice. Let me just take you a little bit
And
back.
you didn't mention, which is maybe you have it on your story, but I saw also our brother Honorable Kalonzo Stephen also chose somebody like Sankuli as his running mate. So among all these presidential candidates, I'm sorry to tell you, but I can't say it here without fear or without any denial of reality.
Feel free, shoot.
But the Martha Karua reality and the Baba Karua reality is going to be a Magufuli moment with Suluhu, and is going to be a Harris moment come 9th of August. I can tell you that.
Well, you've preempted the Kalonzo story because we're bringing it in a little while.
Okay.
But the point I wanted to make is Raila Odinga, Right Honorable, pushed very, very hard for the BBI.
Yes.
And we know that Martha, you remember with her Linda Katiba initiative, she was completely opposed to it. So what I want to ask, because you know, Raila not only nominated her as a running mate, excuse me, but he also assigned some role to Martha Karua to steer the constitution-making conversation.
Reform.
Yeah, so I'm just wondering, from where you are, how do you think that will play out?
I believe that's the best thing that Baba did. You know, I believe Martha was not against the whole document. There's no perfect document.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I mean, like the BBI was made by human beings, and human beings can err. There are some parts of the BBI that she agreed with, and because you can't reject a document in totality, and I believe with what she didn't agree with, she'd be able to come to table and say, okay, my idea was how could we make this different and yet follow the same course? Because we see today, Raila has a chief minister who was supposed to be
in absentia.
He has been elected. He has not refused that position, so he can still carry the chief minister, which was reflected in the BBI. Raila has a running mate which is reflected in the BBI. Raila has started sharing positions, which is reflected in the BBI, which is reflecting the face of Kenya. For example, I believe this is the first time that somebody from with the real cost issues has been elected as the minister for what? The minister for lands. We have Governor Hassan Joho, and you saw the crowd was happy.
So what you're saying is probably the bone of contention was the process and not the content.
The process and not the content. And I believe this was a justice minister before. This is a lawyer. And that's why Baba is an engineer. but an engineer with experience of how to run government. Martha Karua is a lawyer, and you need both those two sides of government
as a matrix,
as a matrix to be able to run a country.
Okay.
And he has experienced people like Oparanya who will run the finance. We have agriculture, we have Peter Munya. But Martha Karua being chosen for that is a person who is also involved in the constitution making of our the second Kenya constitution that we had in 2010. Martha Karua was very crucial.
She was very crucial.
Yes.
And in fact, I remember her during her speech thanking the faceless team of dreamers following a nomination. Do you think the gender agenda is now beginning to take prominence?
Yes. Actually, with what happened today, I believe in the hearts of hearts, there's one leader in this country who believes that women make a difference. And if you want to have a stable community, if you want to have a stable nation, bring in women and you'll be at peace. And that is the Right Honorable Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga. And what he has just begun will begin also the 2/3 gender thing. He's the only one who has reflected that. Yeah.
He's the only one who has reflected that.
People talk. There's a difference between talking and walking the talk.
And walking the talk.
And he has walked the talk.
Okay. Okay, you talk about people, and there's some people who, in fact, even when you look at some of the pollsters, you know, they say that a lot of folks have already made up their minds which political coalitions to support. So I know that somebody of Martha's stature comes with certain benefits.
Yes.
But which ones, from where you sit, stand out as political capital? Especially now, when we have 3 months or thereabout to go before the general poll.
I think you are not blind to the reactions. If you compared today's reaction when Martha was chosen, you can't compare with what we saw yesterday. Yesterday it was only Nyeri and Eldoret. Today it has been reflected in Kisumu, it has been reflected in Nakuru, it has been reflected in Kirinyaga, it has been reflected in Kiambu. We have seen some reactions in Machakos and also in Siaya. And this is telling you that actually we might be blind to looking at the polls that were done before today. The women vote and Baba has wisdom is going to go to Azimio. I'm talking here today in the studio today, and I'm very empathetic about that, and it's going to happen, believe you me. Women in Kenya...
You and I know
yes,
that elections are won through the vote.
Yes.
Through the ballot.
Yes.
And there is arithmetic and mathematics.
Yes.
So there's very little emotions.
There's no emotions, but there's something that people are looking forward to. And you remember the number of indecisive voters were very big. And now that will be closing in. Because Martha does not come alone. She's not walking into... She has Kirinyaga. And you saw the way the people of Kirinyaga were happy. It's not only about Kirinyaga. It cuts across the nation. Women have been looking forward for this. We have never had in our 50-something years since independence have a woman who is straightforward, incorruptible, firm, convinced about what she is, loyal and faithful to a cause. And that only defines nobody else but Honorable Martha Karua. And then, let's go it. We have never had a man who has fought for this nation, because I'm a boy-child fighter. I have to look at that man.
And you run an organization.
And I run an organization called Hekima Kaka Society.
That's right.
Baba Raila Amolo Odinga is the face of a man that we need as a leader. Somebody who is resilient, commitment for purpose, and for the betterment of a people, and not only for men, but also for women. Thank you.
Well, unfortunately, time is up. I just I'll get a way of talking with my producers to give me more time. But let's get your closing remarks. And as you give me your closing remarks, you know, there's always this thing that behind every robust and strong man, there is a woman. So as you give your closing remarks, you can also probably just mention what Mama Ida Odinga, fondly referred to as Main Pain.
Main Pain.
What role she played as you wrap it up?
I hope Main Pain is listening. But this is a woman who has stood with her husband through thick and thin. The second thing people don't know, but behind these peace accords, Mama has been there. It is Mama Dr. Ida Odinga who formed the first women caucus, political caucus, in order to nurture women. And one of her students was Martha Karua. Today the student has graduated of being nobody else's deputy, but of her husband. Yeah. So behind every strong man, there's a woman.
I want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Through.
And thank you for giving me the chance. No. This time, let me work for the boy child and for the nation of Kenya at different capacity. Thank you so much.
I thank you, Dr. Agnes Salome Ugor, lecturer, Jaramogi Oginga University of Science and Technology, and the founder
of Hekima Kaka Society,
an organization that
fights for the welfare of the boy child.
I thank you.
And the boy child cannot walk alone.
Asante.
We walk together.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Asante. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more news, including that story that Daktari asked about Kalonzo Musyoka. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Boresha maisha na bima. Kuwa na mipango mbadala ya sintofahamu za maisha. Gharama za ghafla za matibabu zinaweza kutatiza udhabiti wako wa kifedha. Bima ya matibabu hukupa utulivu wa akili. Wazawidi wapendao hakikisho la maisha mazuri na bima ya gharama zao za matibabu. Pata bima ili kuhakikisha yote yatakuwa sawa.
Do you have a news story to share with KBC? Get in touch swiftly on email news@kbc.co.ke or call 0723-892-654 or 0734-780-124.
Over the weekend, Alpha Fit Gym on Gong Road was the place to be for fashion enthusiasts for an event dubbed On the Runway.
Bald Men Association, Kenya. So now a tribunal in the United Kingdom has just ruled that if you call someone bald, if you call a man bald, it is an offense.
All I can say is that, first off, I love the people. You know, I love the energy, I love the frequency. I looked forward to come back again and actually come with my pack and my producer to actually make music here, because I really enjoy the energy, the weather, the food, you know. Nobody can judge me. Nobody holy.
You're still watching Prime Edition. What a conversation led by my colleague Tom Mboya, the woman factor right there. Continue sending in your reactions on the naming of running mates by both political divides at KBC Channel 1 News. The hashtag is Prime Edition. Let's continue with our coverage tonight. And Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has officially ditched the Azimio One Kenya Coalition Party, announcing his bid to run for presidency under the Wiper Party ticket. Kalonzo made the declaration Monday at the Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka Command Center, where he said he was tired of making sacrifices.
While the Azimio One Kenya Coalition held its meeting to name Martha Karua as the preferred running mate for the coalition at KICC, Wiper party leader Kalonzo Musyoka ran a parallel meeting at the SKM Command Center to announce his position, saying he will vie for the top seat on a Wiper ticket.
My brother Raila knows I'm naming my running mate. In fact, from Mombasa, he came home to try to convince me to accept his choice of our sister mother Karua. We did not agree, and I said, let's sleep over it. We slept over it, and last night we are at it. We did not again agree, so this is why we agreed that he will name mother and I will name my running mate.
Kalonzo saying it was about time to stand firm, terming his move as one that means well for the country.
And I wish him and his running mate, our sister mother Karua, well. But I also made it very clear that if I know my country, if I know our country well, that decision will meet with overwhelming opposition. And therefore, we have agreed to go our separate ways and compare notes as we move.
Interestingly, KANU Party, which is a member of OKA, had its two legs in both Azimio and Wiper meetings. While KANU Party leader Gideon Moi attended the Kalonzo meeting, the party Secretary General Nick Salat was at KICC throwing his support to Martha Karua. The Wiper Party has meanwhile picked Andrew Sunkuli to deputize Kalonzo in the August general elections.
Allow me then to now give you my nomination as my running mate. I am pleased to introduce my brother Andrew Letepa Sunkuli.
On behalf of all marginalized communities seeking inclusivity in a majoritarian environment, I accept this nomination on their behalf.
With Monday midnight being the deadline for the submission of names for the presidential candidates and their running mates, Kalonzo says he has played safe and is still fit to run for the top seat. He now says his team will be hitting the ground for formidable campaigns. Kamche Menza for Prime Edition at the SKM Command Center, Karen, Nairobi.
Tharaka Nithi, Senator Professor Kithure Kindiki says that he will take time off active politics after the August general election. Professor Kindiki, who was one of the favorites poised to deputize William Ruto in the Kenya Kwanza alliance, has also indicated that he will not accept any appointive position. The senator, however, says that he'll continue campaigning for Kenya Kwanza alliance as he congratulated Ruto's nominee, Rigathi Gachagua.
When I left the academia and when I left my profession some 10 years ago, I knew I would have had an illustrious career as a technocrat and as an appointed official. That was a decision I had made, and I had been pushed by the desire to serve my country and apply my talents from the platform of elective politics. So I want to confirm that is my next step for those who have been asking what I'm planning, and I'm sorry if I've disappointed anybody.
Thank you, Asanteni.
campaign intensified for the upcoming general election, what does all this mean for you, the voter? What do the candidates have to offer? How prepared are agencies charged with the election process? Join John Kuria and Safina Chieng on Kenya Decides. This and every Tuesday from 10 p.m. on KBC Channel 1 as we unpack elections 2022 with a panel of various stakeholders. Make informed electoral decisions.
They came, saw and scored their way to the DFB Pokal final. Germany's valiant rivals, SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig, are a heartbeat away from lifting the ultimate trophy of which none has ever won. SC Freiburg are still hopeful of winning their first major title in club history. Meanwhile, RB Leipzig have reached 2 of the last 3 DFB Pokal finals, losing 3-0 to Bayern Munich in 2019 and 4-1 to Dortmund in 2021. It is therefore a moment of truth for these finalists.
So 5 from 6 this season, make that 6 from 7. 35 minutes gone, 3-0 Freiburg. This is history in the making.
As we reveal the identity of 2021-2022 DFB Pokal champion, keep a close eye on this grandest match between SC Freiburg and RB Leipzig on Saturday, the 21st of May 2022 at 9 p.m. live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Well, I hope that you're doing well this Monday evening. My name is Caroline Jenga. Time now to take a look at today's business. Now, investors have started to flock to phase 2 of the Konza Technopolis, with construction works expected to start later this year. The Technology City says the second phase of the project will see construction of a digital media city, setting up of smart vaccine manufacturing facility, a science and technology park, and Dubai Multi-Commodities Center operation. KTOD, that is Konza Technopolis CEO, Executive Engineer John Tanui, said the phase 1 of Konza is at 75% completion rate, with 120 spaces taken out of the 149 spaces that are on offer.
The development of Phase 1, which entails the construction of roads, power, waterways treatment, streetscapes and drainage works, is 80% complete, with a completion date set for December this year at a cost of 40 billion shillings. The completion of the works will pave way for the vertical construction works to be undertaken by the private sector on the 5,000-acre city.
This is spaces to build residential, to build office spaces, to build manufacturing sites, and all the other things that you need in a city, you need in a special economic zones, and you need also in a science and technology parks.
Kenya Electricity Transmission Company is set to construct a multi-billion shilling power transmission hub, while the region's first digital media city is expected to break ground later this year.
Go to the way of creating new products, digital products, whether it's software, whether it's in the digital media, including animations, film and all that, will bring in new income to our country.
KOTDA Chief Executive Engineer John Tanui further says construction of the Kenya Advanced Institute of Science and Technology is at an advanced stage, and the first batch of students are expected to be admitted in September this year. KAIST is set on a 36-acre piece of land comprising 10 research science labs, working with the specialized local and international researchers in science, technology and engineering. Konza Technopolis is a major flagship project under the Vision 2030 Economic Development Blueprint. The Technopolis straddles 3 counties of Machakos, Makueni and Kajiado.
Now let's now focus on wheat flour prices, where the price of wheat has jumped on international prices, or rather international markets, after India banned the export of the staple cereal following a heat wave that ravaged the country's wheat crops. The ban effectively puts a damper on Kenya's decision to whether to lift the ban on wheat imports from India to bridge the local supply deficit after an assessment of the pest control initiative in India. This effectively means wheat flour prices are likely to be affected.
In 2020 alone, Kenya imported wheat worth 97 billion shillings due to high international wheat prices propped up by the Russia-Ukraine conflict. The Russia-Ukraine war has exacerbated the crisis as global prices of wheat have continued to increase due to the lack of supply, up to 60,000 per ton of wheat being offered in the world market from an average of 32,000 per ton.
Wheat from India was actually banned because of what we call the Canoband. Canoband is one of the most dangerous diseases of wheat that does not occur in this country and many countries where we import our wheat from.
To try and maintain local supply chains, Kenya Plant Health Inspectorate Service, KEFIS, was to send a Kenyan delegation to India to assess the pest control initiative in the Asian country.
I think what is remaining is for Kenya to be able to send a team to India, and I think the Ministry of Agriculture is working on that. Very soon we'll have a team going to India to be able to evaluate that.
Kenya banned wheat imports from India due to the fungus Tilletia indica or kernel bunt. However, the global supply disruption forced the government to relook its stand on the viability of wheat imports from the Russian market. The ban is, however, not permanent, with India's government saying it would allow exports backed by letters of credit that have already been issued to countries that request supplies to meet their food security needs. Before the ban, India had aimed to ship a record 10 million tons of wheat this year. This means that the prices of wheat flour in the country are likely to shoot as demand rages against supply. Regina Manyara reporting for Prime Edition.
Pride Groups plans to set up 10 more hotels in Kenya within the next 3 years as the tourism sector continues to recover from COVID-19 pandemic. While speaking during the opening of its latest outlet, Pride in Mara, Chief Executive Officer Hassanai Norani said the expansion will target tourism-rich counties.
The hospitality industry is just shedding off COVID-19 pandemic effects after slumping by more than 80% in 2020. Latest statistics indicate that international visits to Kenya increased by 50.3% from 579,600 in 2020 to 871,300 last year, supported by the lifting of travel restrictions. Pride in Group CEO Hasnain Noorani expects ongoing government interventions, including infrastructure projects, to lift tourist arrivals and revenue.
When this year started, 2022, we had the faith in the government. Based on the reaction, based on the things that the government did to protect Kenya, this only gave us a lot of faith in ensuring that we need to continue our expansion plan. During the entire COVID period, we maintained our hotels. And as at that time, whilst we stopped our expansion, we chose to take care of our teams and ensure that our teams and our customers and our people were all safe.
According to Noorani, the hospitality industry withstood the pandemic-related effects due to increased bookings by domestic tourists. Within Pride in, domestic tourists now account for 70% of bookings, while international tourists take 30%.
Said again, we are looking at how we can promote domestic tourism as much as we can, and we already know that within domestic tourism we need to keep our rates as affordable as possible to ensure that the domestic tourists can continue to travel.
While presiding over the official launch of its latest chain, Pride in Mara, which has 16 luxury cottages and 14 tented camps, Noorani said the group is targeting to have 19 hotels within the next 3 years from the current 9 located in Nairobi, Mombasa, Kwale, Narok and Nakuru counties.
We have our aggressive expansion plan back on track. We are looking at expanding into every single county within Kenya. At the moment, over the next 3 years, we have highlighted 10 counties where we want to establish our hotel and our facilities within the country.
Despite the rising cost of items, Narani expects the tourism industry to emerge stronger with increased demand from meetings and conferences.
And that is how we wrap up business news for tonight. Richard Munga is up next with a sports update. My name is Caroline Jenga. Have a good night.
Well, good evening and thank you for joining us for KBC Sports Night. With me, Richard Munga, on to a top story tonight, whereby the government will accord the triumphant Kenya Deaflympics team a hero's reception for finishing 10th overall in the 24th Summer Deaflympics 2021 Games in Caxias do Sul in Brazil. Principal Secretary, State Department for Culture and Heritage in the Ministry of Sports, Josfeta Mukobe, who is leading the Kenyan contingent, said the government will marshal resources to ensure the exemplary performance is celebrated.
Kenya clinched a total of 24 medals, that is 5 gold, 7 silver and 12 bronze, to emerge the first country in Africa, while Algeria was second with barely 5 medals. Ukraine topped the medal standings with 137 medals, which is 61 gold, 38 silver and 38 bronze. This performance not only surpassed that the last edition held in Turkey in 2017, where Kenya bagged 16 medals, 5 gold, 5 silver and 6 bronze, but it's the best ever since the country first took part in the Games in Denmark in 1997.
That as Kenya, we are very blessed. And I just want to quote the biblical verse that says, count your blessings and mention them one by one. And at the end of the day, you'll see what the good Lord has done for you. When we look at Team Kenya, when we came on first, we didn't know that I would perform that well. But we have performed well.
Kenya could have won more medals in the men and women's marathon on the last day of the Games on Sunday, but the athletes were disqualified for lateness.
I was ready to run the marathon because I'm strong. I'm stronger than when I was in Poland. When I went to Poland, I became position 4. And when we were in camp at Kasarani, I worked with my coach and we had been training for me to come and participate in the marathon. I did my training, I prepared myself well, and this morning when I got up, I was ready to do the marathon.
The delayed 24th Summer Deaflympian began on Sunday, May 1st, and concluded on Sunday, May 15th with a colorful closing ceremony at the Cessi Centro Esportivo Indoor Gym in the southern Brazilian city. Team Kenya is expected to return home in batches starting Tuesday this week. For Prime Edition Sports, I'm Daniel Mwendwa.
Meanwhile, Kenya Sports Shooting Federation held a pre-Kenya Open event dubbed Road to Shaba in preparation for IPSC tournament at Shaba Range in Kamanga, Samburu County. The International Practical Shooting Confederation Level 3 shotgun event will be held from the 18th to the 19th of June.
The pre-Kenya Open event, which was held at the newly constructed Shaba Sports Shooting Range, attracted a total of 100 shooters from different shooting clubs and counties all over Kenya. The aim of the pilot event was to put to test the capacity of Kenyan Sports Shooting Federation to run the upcoming IPSC Level 3 Championships smoothly. Speaking during the curtain raiser event, Range Master Franklin Abudo says tremendous progress has been made in terms of preparations.
We are here to test our preparedness in terms of the equipment, the facilities, the hospitality, the tools at our disposal, including technology.
106 countries from across the continent have been invited for the event that will feature pistol carbine combined, and rifle categories. The International Practical Shooting Confederation Level 3 Shotgun event will be held from 18th to 19th of June.
Now, elsewhere, Kenya's Irene Cheptai and Nicholas Kithure Kindiki braved stiff competition, or rather opposition, to win the TCA's World Athletics 10 kilometers Bengaluru road race. Cheptai and Kindiki ran course records of 30 minutes and 35 seconds and 27 minutes and 38 seconds, respectively.
A super fast opening 2 kilometers, a quick time was always likely, and the race was soon down to just 3 women at the front. Cheptai, two-time world 5,000 meters champion Helen Obiri, and fellow Kenyan Joyce Tele. Cheptai and Obiri carried on their enthralling head-to-head battle, but with just 250 meters to go, Cheptai darted past Obiri to cross the line in 30 minutes and 35 seconds. Cheptai took 44 seconds off the women's course record, which had stood since 2018.
Record broken by about 45 seconds, there or thereabouts, by Irene Cheptai, and she takes one of the biggest scalps.
Nicholas Kithure Kindiki won the men's race after clocking 27 minutes and 38 seconds. Ethiopia's Tadis Work came in second, while Kibiwot Kandie settled for third position. Kindiki walked away with 2.6 million shillings, while Cheptai pocketed 800,000 shillings. For Prime Edition, I am Nora Mungi.
Well, of course, congratulations to Cheptai and Kindiki for winning their respective races. Now, on to other matters. Kenya Ports Authority finished 5th overall at the African Men's Volleyball Club Championship in Calibia, Tunisia. The Dockers humbled host Calibia in a 5-set thriller to finish among the top 5 teams in the continental showpiece. KPA was relegated to the classification matches after losing to Port Douala of Cameroon in the quarterfinals. Another Kenyan side, Equity Bank, finished 10th overall after losing by 3 sets to 2 to AS Douanes of Burkina Faso. In the last edition of Africa Men's Volleyball Club Championship in 2021 in Tunisia, KPA finished 5th overall, while Equity Bank was making its debut at this year's championship. Oh, that's all the time we had for Sports Night. Just a reminder, Arsenal match day 37 taking on Newcastle United. Of course, Arsenal trying to go place top of the EP of the North London rivals Tottenham Hotspur. And be sure to stay tuned into subsequent bulletins for all the updates as well as the highlights. I'm Richard Munga. Do have a good night. Tom and Purity are on the other side of the studio.
Thank you very much, Richard.
We have to wrap it up. Time is not on our side. Thank you so much for watching Prime Edition this Monday night. We'll see you again tomorrow, God willing. I'm Purity Museo. Good night.
And my name is Mboya. Let's do it again tomorrow. Good night.
Kupata